The special meeting of the Annapolis City Council on Thursday, July 9th, 2020 will be called to order at 2:05. At this time, would everybody turn their microphones on for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney?
Here.
Alderman Payon? Alderwoman Pendell Charles?
Oh, I didn't do it. Yeah.
Alderwoman Finlayson?
Present.
Alderman Rodriguez? Alderman Gay?
Yeah.
Alderman Savage?
Present.
Alderman Arnett?
Nay.
Okay.
What?
I thought we were voting. Gavin started off by voting aye, so.
Mr. City Attorney, please present the first on the agenda.
Yes, it's a approval of the agenda.
At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
All those in, it's call, roll call.
Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Let's see. Alderman Gay?
Aye.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney?
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson?
Aye.
Agenda's pass.
You. Mr. City Attorney, please.
Yes, the next item is R4020, State of Emergency for the purpose of further extending the termination date of the Declaration of State of Emergency for the city of Annapolis that was issued on March 12, 2020.
Is there a motion to adopt R-40-20 on first reader?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Alderman Arnett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. By way of discussion, I sent out an email, which I didn't seem to receive myself, but it was asking for where in the code is there a requirement that the city council reaffirm the state of emergency every 30 days. I don't know if you got that, Mr. City Attorney.
I did not get that.
Okay.
I may have received it. I was late into the office today, but the code specifies in the appropriate section, which I can forward to you, that the state of emergencies issued are only last for 30 days, but the council itself has the authority to make it last for as ever long as it wishes. Probably a misreading by me that we come back every 30 days. I thought it was appropriate at first, only because we just didn't know how long things were going to last, but it appears that things are extending further than we had all anticipated. And so rather than you have to inconvenience yourself and come back every 30 days, I took it upon myself to put this before you and the mayor, because you do have the authority to make it last as long as you need. So this one is tied to the governor's extension, to the governor's order, which will, when that ends, ours will end 30 days after that.
Well, that's my second question is, why should ours last longer than the governor's?
Because we need to have a city council meeting to terminate it. And so we're putting it 30 days after because there may be some issues related to how we govern and operate our own emergency efforts. It gives you time to close down everything that needs to be closed down, to change things that need to be changed, and to make certain alterations that the city takes upon itself in its state of emergency. Our state of emergency is unique to us. And it's just a handy tie to the state, but I think the 30 days gives you a sufficient time to wrap up things that need to be wrapped up. And then the next city council meetings after that was our suggestion.
So I guess it really is critical for me to find where that 30 days is specified, because it seems to me if it is specified in the code as 30 days, we can't not follow that 30-day requirement. But I would still prefer that this read that we would meet and take the city state of emergency off within 30 days, not 30 days after.
Well, the code does provide that the council can make the state of emergency for whatever period it wishes. It's just that if the mayor issues a state of emergency, it can only last for 30 days, but the council can extend it for whatever period. It's in the same provision. I can forward that to you if you want.
Well, I need it, yes, for this vote. I do need that.
Sure. Give me a second, please.
All right, thank you.
So Alderman Finlayson had a hand up, then Alderman Tierney, then Alderman Gay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For clarification, we're really talking about, in part, funding that the city can recoup that we have used in response to the state of emergency. Mr. Lyles, is that not really the reason for extending it beyond 30 days beyond the governor's state of emergency?
Well, that's part and parcel. That's part and parcel of it. There's a whole administrative regime that we set up to deal with the state of emergency. And if the state ends, whenever it ends, it's going to plan to end and has a whole array of things it will do. But we need to do what we need to do for the city, including deal with our filings for CARES funding and everything else, as well as wrap up the state of emergency. We may not know in advance when the state is going to end, and that's the only issue. The state will know itself, but we won't know. And so you can't end just when they end without having to take all the measures you need to take, including having a vote to end.
And since we don't meet in August, in the event that for some strange reason this would end, this eliminates the need for us to try to get back together. So this will extend it.
Exactly.
And if we are still dealing with the reparations from COVID, then we can pay all of our bills up to 30 days. And I say pay, get reimbursed for our bills up to 30 days beyond the governor's end of the state of emergency.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And I am looking at the code section now. It is 11.48. Let me just make sure my mic is on here. Yes, 11.48.030, state of emergency declaration by the mayor. Under section B, the local state of emergency shall continue until the mayor declares by written order that the emergency no longer exists, provided, however, that the local state of emergency shall not continue or be renewed for longer than 30 days without the consent of the city council.
Thank you for that. I realize now I'm looking at my last bound version, and that section was added, and I need to pull out the most up-to-date version. So I knew I'd seen it, but I just couldn't find it in my code book. All right, thank you. Thank you, City Attorney.
Alderman Tierney.
Oh, thank you. And thank you, Alderwoman Finlayson, for asking that question, because that was one of my I had a question and a comment. I didn't know how, if we jeopardized our funding by extending 30 days after the state. So it appears that we don't. But I just wanted to say that from a recovery zone standpoint, thank you very much for doing this, because in communicating with all the participants in the recovery zones in Ward 1, I can tell them now, because their anxiety is, how long will this last? You know, we're going through a huge effort to give them these recovery zones. So now I can say, you know, till Labor Day, and they can plan accordingly. So from that perspective, that's good to know for planning purposes. And at the same time, you know, they do ask whether or not this is permanent, but I do tell them that we're in line with the state plus 30 days. So it really helps in planning, and these recovery zones are becoming, you know, more solidified. So thank you very much.
Alderman Gay.
Yeah, thank you. So when does the is the governor set to expire? Do we know that exact date or no? Okay, yeah, so I'm all on board with this. I think it's great coming back whenever after his expires. Quick questions, really quick. Have we, because Sheila, you mentioned COVID funding and stuff, whatever happened to us getting like the $4 million and an update on how that was spent? And are we in the second phase of that yet? Or like, what's going on with that?
Mr. City Manager?
Sure, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, so we got the $4 million from the county, 4.25 million. We got the first tranche of it appropriated in FY20. That was the list that you all voted on, the tentative list. We need to come back to you again in FY21 to get an additional appropriation, but that money is being spent. And we'll continue to. We're putting together a list so that we can share that with you of the items that it's being spent on.
Okay, thanks. And lastly, just saying, yeah, what Ellie mentioned about the recovery zones, they're great. I like them. I hope they stick around. I see the little parklets are out, which is making more space for pedestrians on the parking lot, which is important that we start spacing out a little bit more. Other than that, downtown is rocking, so I think it's great. It really is.
Thanks, Alderman Gay. Alderman.
You don't want to buy an evening gown, do you, Dwan? It's a little inside joke there. Sorry.
Some inside joke, yeah.
Treasure Island.
What about the recovery districts? Don't you like them also?
We do.
Yes. So, but speaking of that, and Gavin, you and I talked about this. I think the virus is going to go on for a long time, whether or not the state of emergency. So I am concerned about when it comes off, what the status of our businesses are. I know people are already talking about renting alligator heaters and so forth and going through the winter with outdoor dining. I've talked to a lot of the restaurateurs in Eastport, and people are very, very reticent about coming inside, even as things stand down and emergency things come off. So I think for survival's sake, these restaurants are going to need much longer to be doing this outside, which after the state emergency is in violation of their special exception, their liquor laws and license, and their parking requirements. So I think that it's not too soon to think about some kind of council legislation that grandfathers in this situation, not really grandfather, but continues this situation until, and we can have it sunset at regular intervals, but keep it going until we're ready to resume life as normal.
Thank you, Alderman. I thank you for bringing that out, because I think that's a really important thing. And so many of the businesses have asked about that. So it would be great for us to be prepared for that. I mean, none of us know what the governor's going to do. Stuart doesn't know. I don't know. That's why the 30 days is so essential, because we learn it when the general public learn. And so I really think we should be prepared for that. I think we've been doing so well. We should be proud of ourselves, touch wood, because our numbers are good in the city, in the county, in the state, and we're surrounded by states that are not doing well, so, but, touch wood, we continue to do these practices, keep people outside as long as we can, and make it easy for them to stay outside and encourage that. Because I know I haven't eaten in a restaurant inside yet. I don't know how many, anyone put their hand up if they've eaten inside a restaurant yet? I haven't. Oh, thanks, Jody.
Don't go to the finance department. Stay away from there.
Alderman Gay, thank you.
Yeah, just quickly, because, I agree with Ross in thinking that we should, stay outside as long as we can. It's working and nobody's getting sick. And I know there is concern about businesses that sell other items that aren't flying off the shelves. And I think that, I think that we could possibly work with the Office of Economic Development in coaching them on how to create websites, because that is where a lot of the selling is focused on now, or where retail is. And, it's hard to, if you would like to support a business on Main Street or a small business wherever in the city, but you do risk or you don't want to risk going outside and getting sick or anything like that, to do so without them having a website. So if we could work with the office to coach them through that process, to, just sell something at least, so they're creating some sort of revenue. I don't know if that's possible or not, but it's just a thought.
On the Small Business Recovery Task Force, there's a couple of gun tech people there, one from Google, a guy called Chris Sleet, and he's been talking about how we can create a virtual shopping program for the city, so that all shops will have some access to it, and they don't all have to have their own back of house or whatever it is. He has a plan, so maybe we'll start to direct some of the guys that haven't been engaged towards that group in the Small Business Recovery Task Force. I'll have Stephen Rice reach out on that, and Sheila knows well about it. Alderman Finlayson?
Yes, I'd like to. Sorry, that's my doorbell. That is one of the recommendations from the Small Business Recovery Task Force. And we had requested some funding to be able to provide businesses with assistance in creating these websites, as well as being able to advertise that these things are available. Because there are a lot of businesses that still aren't aware of what opportunities they have to help them with their businesses. So that is one of the recommendations from the Small Business Recovery Task Force. Mr. Mayor, are we going to have a report from them at the meeting next week?
Stephen had told me that he was sending the report out, and I think that's a good idea. Let's have them come forward and do that. Yeah, Let me do that.
I had requested that they do that,
Okay, so Alderman Tierney?
Sorry, just because you're talking about that, I think one thing that I've seen is that this, the retail, they're scared, they're angry, and they default into their typical, help me, obstacle. And one thing that's clearly missing is creativity. I mean, I joked, sorry if she's listening, about the Treasure Island, the evening gowns place, but I said to her yesterday, why don't you have a cocktail party, outside of your store? Take advantage of this space, and those are your clients, and that's really not. It's really a struggle with these retail businesses on Main Street. It's a kind of a generational thing or something. I'm older too, but I can try to think outside the box, right, Dwan? So I don't know. So that's kind of what's missing there, and we just have to keep helping them see outside the box.
I think every week we're evolving it, and we're trying to respond as much as we can to people. But I'm hoping we can get to a final product soon, so that we can. And it's going to be impossible to keep everybody happy, but if we can keep the majority of people happy, and that's what we're going to have to live with this summer. Alderman Gay?
Yeah, and just Ellie, because I know you have a lot of shops or small shops in your ward, and a lot of that is just, you can't beat yourself up on that because it's tourism based, and if people aren't traveling, then, or for example with that shop, if people aren't going to prom or getting married, or there's just so many obstacles that stand in the way of businesses, specialty businesses, not being successful right now. And I don't think it's the fault of you, the city, or the business owner. It's just what's happening, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's where we have to be careful, because they're blaming us, for creating barricades or something, and it really isn't us. It's the general economy. Truth be told, nobody's buying, $2,000, gallery portraits, as much as they probably were, before the pandemic. So, yeah, it's a tough one. So they have to help us help them.
Okay, so all those in favour, with a show of hands. Alderman Annette, are you putting your hand up already or asking?
I'm voting.
All those in favour say aye with a show of hands. Aye.
Aye with a show of hands.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to suspend the rules to allow passage of the resolution at the meeting of its introduction?
Move to suspend the rules.
Second?
Thank you. All those in favour with a show of hands say aye.
Aye with a show of hands.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt R-40-20 on second reader?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Yes.
Alderman Gay?
Yes.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney?
Aye.
And Alderwoman Finlayson?
Aye.
Motion carries all
Thank
yeses.
you. So
Oh, no.
I feel like I haven't seen you guys for a while. I don't want to leave so soon.
Let's talk about South Annapolis Shopping Center then.
or all the parks that we're not providing. Can I tell you, we are fighting that fence. I know we're on record here, but we are fighting it. And but Waterworks, City Dock, Trail Connections, we're doing a response. So thank you. And I know for all of us here, it's a high priority. So thank you very much. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
That's it for the agenda, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
Oh no, there's no Fred.
What we can do without Fred?
Can we please do, for the good of the order, something? We have not seen each other in decades.
Yeah.
The council. It's
Hey,
great.
Ross, I've got some buddies that could take down a fence if you need it.
Okay.
I just have to make a phone call.
We'll see each other again on Monday.
That's true.
Cool.
You know what? I can do a shout out, Dwan. We had a housing meeting last night, and you know it's even overwhelming to me about all of these efforts that we're not aware of that are we just donated. How much money did we give out, Dwan, to the community?
Yeah. We gave out $156,651. Split up between 6 organizations. And I mean, it was, people have been emailing all day saying it was such a good meeting. We had great conversation, talked about some of the needs of the community, talked about our housing, and then deliberated for about an hour and a half. And so it was great. It was great.
And,
Dwan,
and
can you tell us what businesses got the funding?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
It was Blessed in Tech, the Center of Help, Lighthouse Shelter, the Housing Authority of the City of Annapolis, Restoration Community Development, and what was that?
Randall Lodge.
Yeah,
Randall Lodge. Randall Lodge was the big winner.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking. But Joel, assistant city, our city attorney, he sort of empowered us to do our job because we were cautious of giving people have a request. And then we have this thing where, we don't give them more than what they asked for, but we did. And he empowered us to do that because we could. And so we chose to give some more than they asked for, and we chose to give some less than they asked for. So it was really a good meeting, and we felt good because everybody did get something. And we knew what they were spending it on, and it was all related to the pandemic. And they also reported that they didn't have many cases, if any at all, from their workers. Was that correct, Juan?
Yeah, amongst the staff, even dealing directly with, COVID patients, they none of these organizations like most nonprofits that are in our communities, none of the workers are getting sick, which is crazy. But it also is a testament to like how cautious they are, how hardworking they are, and the efforts of OEM with most of the food giveaways. So it was great. It really was.
Yeah. I mean, Randall Lodge, they talk about creative. They do virtual, therapy, and they're reaching out to people who otherwise would be really, really alone, right now. So it was amazing stuff to hear, and we should be really proud.
And there was also an amazing effort on the weekend with the Breonna Taylor mural. We got a national and international spotlight shone on the city. Amazing work. Alderman Gay, Jeff Huntington, Keanu, the obviously Bennica Douglas Museum. I mean, a really great effort. But on a city park, we have a kind of a international icon now. The way it was rolled out. We'll be doing you said Wednesday, is that Alderman Gay? Is it?
Yeah, Wednesday the 15th is the scheduled date as of now.
So,
and that it probably won't change. So Wednesday the 15th.
Trying to give some kind of award or check to Jeff Huntington and Future History Now that coordinated the whole effort. They raised all that money on their own to make it happen, $8,000. And it is amazing. And it was just fantastic to watch, just to see so many people come together and, like 30 people rolling at once or with paintbrushes. It was just amazing. So I'm proud that we were all a part of that. So thank you all. So
Mr. Mayor?
Alderman Finlayson?
Yes, I had an opportunity to come over after everybody had left. And it was pretty phenomenal. I came at the end of the first day, so I haven't seen the finished product yet. But from what I've seen on the internet, it was phenomenal. And the city should be very proud of that effort. And simply the way that Jeff can coordinate all of these people painting at the same time and get the finished product that he does is phenomenal in itself. I'd like to take a point of personal privilege right now before we adjourn. Some of you are aware that I have a 98-year-old aunt who had to go to a nursing home because of a fall that she had. While she was there, she contracted COVID. She has since, at the age of 98, she'll be 99 on the 21st of this month, she has survived COVID.
Wow.
That speaks well to our nursing homes. And, you spoke, or Dewan spoke earlier about the assistance that our facilities are providing for our residents. Well, I mean, she's a testament, almost 99. She's living, I haven't seen her since early May because she's been, hospitalized, but she survived COVID and is doing well for a 99-year-old. So, kudos to the folks who work in the nursing homes and provide, and the doctors and the nurses and everyone who, gives care. We get to see her through the window in her room. That's it, so, but it is what it is. But we're truly, truly blessed, and the city is truly fortunate to have such awesome people working for us. So thank you.
You have amazing genes in your family as well. Your dad.
It's scary because she's on my mother's side. My dad's 95.
You both sides.
His sister's 100. It's scary.
Thank you. And just before we leave, I just want to do a quick moment of silence for DeAndre Matthews. He was a young man, a 28-year-old man who was stabbed in Sheila's ward. Mm-hmm. He worked at the Market House. Everybody I'm talked to there is in shock. I mean, they can't believe that this could have happened to him. They just didn't think that would ever sort of be a circumstance for him. So it's just I can't imagine what the family are going through. So we could just take a quick moment of silence for him. Thank you. Thank you all. Being no other items on the agenda, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn. Can I get a motion? Thank you. And with no Fred here, we're all at a loss. All those in favour of adjourning, say aye. Aye. And we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.